What's up and welcome back everyone. It is Dash Render and today I have Art with me again at Fit From Home, or Fit For Home, right?
Fit FR Home, yep.
Okay, Fit FR Home, I'll get it. But for today's video, we are Ragnar and Rollo Lothbrok. And we are gonna be testing with tropes and myths with the Viking eras, Game of Thrones and everything, and putting to test some of the ideas they put out there and whether that would work or not. So we're gonna have tons of fun, break a bunch of stuff, and maybe debunk some Hollywood myths.
Let's go.
Hooah! First myth we are testing comes from the 300, and that's going to be basically breaking the arrows as you slash down with your spear after you then punctured in there. So Art's going to be our brave stand-in today. He will 100% be behind that shield. Liability be damned. And we are going to test that out to see. I'm going to put 3 arrows in that thing and see if he can just snap them off with the might of his Viking ancestry.
We'll see if I can do it.
Oh no, you already messed up. So Art, how was it behind the shield, taking the arrows?
I trust you.
All right,
I've seen enough of your videos. I've seen you shooting that I wasn't too concerned. And I could definitely feel the impact.
I was really excited about that. So one thing to know, and we're gonna do one more test because I was a little, these are cheaper, older arrows that I made long ago. I wanna actually have them try it. I'm gonna actually willingly sacrifice a heavier duty warbow arrow to see if that'll work. So this has a lot more mass, way stronger. Curious if that will in fact actually be able just to be broken off by a shield swipe. That was a powerful shield swipe. So I think he's got a shot, but we're gonna test this out and I'm gonna do a bigger draw to get it deeper in there.
All right,
okay.
Challenge accepted. Oh yeah, I felt that. Whole shield was vibrating, dang.
All right, so that one right here, we had to break a little bit more of a bend, I would say. It actually broke the metal, to be honest. So I feel that there's certainly something that can be done. Is that the hole right there? Jeez Louise. So these tips are not really meant to punch into the shield because I didn't want to go through it. So I feel if we would have had that through a little bit deeper, like let's say it's going partly through, it would be a harder thing to do. But if it's just breaking at that weakest point right there, certainly possible, certainly doable, as you proved here.
That heavy arrow hit way harder, man. I'll tell you that much. My whole arm was vibrating.
You are a brave man. Oh, this cannot go on TikTok. By the way, this is gonna be YouTube only.
Just gotta put a disclaimer.
No,
in there.
no, they don't.
Professionals only.
Yeah. Last week, Art missed out on the fun. Unfortunately, I had the ballistic dummy heads. I wanted to share some for him. Was not able to. That leads perfectly into the next movie trope we are going to do, which is the easy, clean head decapitation.
Bring me his head.
What I have left for my ballistic dummy is an intact vertebrae here. So this is going to be a similar one-to-one with bone. So it's a very similar texture, strength, and there's no skin on it, so obviously you're not gonna be cutting through tendon or muscle, but I just wanna have him try here with the 1.5-hand sword to see if he can get a clean cut through that thing in just one easy bow swoop.
All right, I'm gonna give it my best shot. But if I can't, then Dash will have to finish it off.
Okay. Oh. All right, so that is 100% confirmed. And so you can see even with that, even with our imperfect strikes and the way that we cut it, it still went through and through that bone very, very easily. So, you know, in movies when they're lopping off heads or cutting through skulls, that's definitely gonna be in that realm of, yes, it can happen. Even without a katana, just a standard hand and a half.
What, the bone on these dummies, this is like simulating an actual like spine?
Yeah, no, so the skull and everything as well here. This is the skull that was there, and this was like from a previous test, but it's actually meant, it's got the layers of bone in there, so it like splinters out and everything based on the hits. So it's a really good analog and a one-to-one for impact. Is mainly used for firearms, but you can use it just for the heck of it too.
I noticed when we were cutting this, like you said, with the sharp blade, went right through. I wonder how much harder it would be with all that flesh.
Yeah,
like
no,
because
I feel like with that you need to actually angle the cut to where you're coming in with it, because like a good cut is supposed to cut, because you can't just push through it, you're supposed to kind of cut into it as you're moving. But it would probably be harder, definitely. I mean, when I've done it with the dummies, you can definitely tell it sticks, because that stuff, the flesh that they have is really gummy. So it's hard to do.
I gotta say, it felt pretty good to use a sharp sword on this thing, man. I don't know if that's a bad thing or what.
No.
Maybe it's the, you know, the Viking blood in me.
That's the male urge right there, is what that is. All right, so next up, it's a common thing, you see it a lot of times in movies. Someone has a spear and they're moving, and someone has a sword, and swoop, they just cut it right down the middle. And this is an ash shaft. So if you don't know anything about woods, that's what most of the medieval weapons, ancient weapons, were made out of, is ash, because it was really strong and really resilient. And I feel like that's something that irks me in movies when they have that pole and it gets cut off, or the spearhead gets cut off, because I do not think that is going to happen in any capacity. But we are going to test it here to see how it works against the sword, and if in fact you can cut through a strong ash pole. Ha! That sounds funny.
Oh God.
Strong ash pole. Dad jokes right there. Simulate a duel here. We have it, he has his spear raised, let's say, this will be like a perfect slice. And I'm gonna come this way here. So I'm gonna step into it and slice down with it as well to see. I mean, he's gonna have to hold on to it, of course, also, but I'm just gonna see if I can chop through that. All right, you ready?
Ready.
It's actually a pretty good cut.
Give it another one.
All right,
Give
okay.
it full power, full power.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
It even popped out of my hand. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, well, shoot. What the heck? I mean, you'd have to be holding it tight, but dang, that was like 90% of the way through. Hold on, let's get
Maybe if it didn't pop out of my hand.
Actually, one thing to consider is the cut, whether or not someone be strong enough to hold that from the impact, right? Because if you're cutting down on it and the strike's hard enough, unless you have it like really braced on your hand, it's probably gonna pop out before it cuts, but we are getting super close to that.
All right.
All right, so I'm not gonna lie, I've been surprised today 3 times, I think. That honestly went so much deeper than I thought it would. Even with him holding it, you know, it got popped out of his hand, but if he would have had a firmer grip on that thing, I fully believe we would have been able to cut through that ash shaft, which is really surprising me because it's such a strong wood. And I mean, it held up well. I mean, how did it feel in your hand when it hit? Did it vibrate at all?
Yeah, so definitely like just that impact.
Yeah.
And even though I was ready for it, I didn't think it would push down that hard.
Right.
So I think if I braced more, you know, really got that like deep kind of pull-up grip.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just slipped right out of my fingers. Man.
Okay. All right, dude, that is a strong plausible here. I'm excited. We are doing good today. I think 3 for 3, right? Because we did the break, we did the shield break, the neck, this, and we got some more fun coming too, so stick around.
Maybe the movies aren't.
Well, most of them are, but so far, this has been surprising.
All right.
This next test comes to us from Vikings. So we got our dummy here, and there's a scene in there, I think in the second season, where they're in a shield wall and someone tries to jump over the shield wall and they throw a spear. And the spear actually halts him, changes his momentum, and pushes him backwards. Now, I think that breaks all the laws of physics because the spear would need more mass than the dummy. But what we're gonna do is Art's gonna throw the dummy up here, and I'm gonna throw the javelin, and we're gonna see if it changes the trajectory in the air, if that floating weight is actually gonna have any impact to move it backwards or push it one direction, just on the weight and the strength of the spear throw alone.
I wonder how it feels to get, you know, hit by a spear.
Horrible. It's just horrible. There's no other way. What other way would
you're
there be?
flying through the air, and
Oh,
just the last thing you see is a spear, like, coming at.
No, that's the bad thing. It wouldn't be the last thing you see.
Yeah.
The last thing you think would be like being on the ground getting trampled by dudes as you're like having a spear in you. You're like, oh my God, just stop, guys. Then sepsis sets in, then you die like a week later horribly. That's the real tragedy.
You ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
So could you hit someone jumping through the air from a shield wall position? Yes, you certainly could. Will it change their momentum or direction? No. That was even like probably 60 or 50 pounds of the dummy moving sideways, and that's not even forward momentum. And so there's just no way. I mean, obviously that's more just fun to see. That's very tropey, but that one is definitively a no.
Maybe a ballista.
I think
Like a ballista bolt would definitely.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a ballista. Next time we'll build one.
3 for 4.
Yes, 3 for 4.
All right. That's
Good
not
day
too
so
bad.
far, though. Good day. All right, well, I'm lucky to have Art here because he is a brave individual. This is not going to have a tip on it, but what he wants to do is we're going to test the impact of a thrust of a spear against a shield, just because, you know, you see people just absorb it all the time, but we want to see kind of what that impact feels like with just that weight behind it and that intent behind it if you're actually in a shield wall, and how hard that would be just to hang on as it's getting punched into it.
I'm sure there's probably some technique to using a shield properly too, right?
Is it basically go over here and it would be on the shoulder there, so it would be like almost like a football stance right there. Yeah, so you're leaning into it just like that, and that way it doesn't bump into your head as well. So you can duck under it if you need to, but you have that strong base of a wall right there. So it's just like an extension of your whole side of your body.
Okay.
All right,
give it a go.
let's try it. Okay, so we're gonna start this off in gradient. So I'm gonna do like a 50%, okay?
All right.
Ready?
Good.
How's that?
Good.
70? All right,
All right.
100%?
Go. No.
How'd that feel?
So the first 2, the shield smacked me in the head a little
Okay,
bit.
all right.
So I learned, and then I braced my head up against
Okay.
it. But it was good, man.
All right, adapt and learn.
Not as hard as I thought.
Okay,
So like imagine a shield wall.
yeah,
Totally, you wouldn't move.
okay.
And even then, I wasn't. You know, I think if I braced them up a little bit heavier, like imagine me and like 3 other guys.
Yes, exactly, overlapping the
You would just be
shields and
burning
stuff.
energy, just
just
hitting those
pushing.
shields.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Like you'd close the distance and like clench up in this way. Your head this way, because it was mainly over top. Because you're basically shoulder to shoulder as a push, right?
Yeah.
And then here you come over top just like that, because that's how you're gonna get through there. Right.
Like strike me right now. So
Right.
all I have to do is just
Grab the stick,
redirect
you
or
miss.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, could you imagine fighting like this? Just breathing next to some dude, just like this close?
I think.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I cannot let Art take all the risk, and we are going to disprove today one of the biggest cliche myths in Hollywood. It's slashing through armor. So what I have right here is some brigandine armor. Underneath it, I have a padded gambeson, and then I have my pauldrons, which he's probably not going to hit. But I want him to start off here and just get a slash at like 50% against the stomach, right in there. Okay.
All right. Right now?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Oh, So I can feel that through the body, but as you can see, it's not gonna happen. Now give it a slash, like you're gonna cut across. Ugh. And see right there, you can feel it on the plates here. I can feel that they're getting a little bit of damage, but it's absorbing that impact super, super well. So when you see the films and the movies where people are literally slashing guys and they're just like, oh, falling like that, it's not gonna happen. And we're gonna try it even more with the sword. Less effective because that's not gonna slash through anything. It actually has some mass behind it for the impact. The sword really does not.
Yeah, and these are actually razor sharp.
Yeah, no, they're super sharp. We've used them, yeah. All right, so the reason we're doing this later in the video too is I want to show this is actually a very legit sharp sword. We have put it to the test. It's cut through bone exceptionally well. It cut almost through that entire ash pole. So it's not a matter of quality of the blade, it's a matter of the way that it's used, and it's not gonna work against the armor. So I'm gonna have him just give a good clean slash right over here with it. And just to show that it's not gonna happen. Anytime someone falls to a slash, you're just gonna graze right off.
All
right, ready?
Ready.
Nice clean. Oh, that hurt. I can feel it. Oh, dang, that was hard. But, whew, the armor survived right in the solar plex. There's no way that sword's gonna get through. And like you've seen, again, that went through that ash, that went through the bone, everything.
I will say, just from swinging the axe versus the sword, having something that's longer, I was able to get that whip kind of motion, and I generated way more power.
Yeah, no, you
axe
did.
Is short, so it was like it's like thud, right? This was like
I felt the power. Oh, that was better. I felt it. That was more in the stomach too.
Yeah.
I think I could take more in the stomach. When it was up on the ribs, I was like, oh gosh, stomach was better. So that right there is a really good example as to why swords were great, but really only specific uses. It was really the blunt impact damage that did the most. So this is obviously fantastical, but if you had something like this, which almost weighs 10 pounds, come into me from that, it doesn't matter. That's gonna cave me and I'm gonna drop. Because you have that extra mass behind it. And if you have the spiked points in there, it's probably gonna dig in a little bit because it's really a centralized point of impact. And so that's kind of that evolution of arms where the sword is like has the mystical look to it. In the general battle, it was not used frequently in like the big melee. It was like a tournament weapon, often more for the knights and the nobles and everything because it had that status attached to it. But really, if you want to do some damage, that would just, if you hit me with that, I would just drop to my knees.
And I've used Gron before.
Yes, yes.
Ron is a destroyer. This would cause internal organ damage.
Yes, it would crack ribs and I would go to the hospital for being an idiot.
Sure you don't want to try it?
No. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time again. We have finished and it has been a ton of fun. Battered and bruised. We got some really fun choreographed things, so be sure to check out Art's page for that because he's got good editing for all that, so he's gonna be putting those in shorts and everything as well. Some things that we missed that you guys would like to see us test again. I'd love to hear more additional thoughts. I was thinking about it all the other day and I was asking Art about it, but I know there's more tropes to test. So if there's more you guys want to see, just let us know in the comments so we can add those in next time he comes down and we'll make it epic and fun.
That was a ton of fun, man. As always, you can't beat something like this. Grab yourself some weapons, do it safely somewhere with some friends. It is the best time you're gonna have in your entire life.
And that is the important thing, guys, is do it safely. These are all people, I have been doing this for most of my life. Art is a Marine. He has been trained in combat and skills. So don't just get something sharp and play around with it unless you know what you are doing, what the capacity of the weapons is, and the armor that you are using is. So always be safe and always have fun.
This guy, his videos, amazing. Ever since I started watching them a few years ago, I was hooked. So if you guys are looking for more stuff like this, I'm telling you, I cannot get enough of it. Make sure you hit that subscribe on his channel.
And if you guys are dads looking to get fit and everything, that is his wheelhouse right there. I am not the fitness guy, that is him. So check him out if you're looking to lose some weight, get healthy, get fit. And he's gonna teach you some cool stuff like maybe backflips, which I'll never do, never. You just leave that up to you.
Thanks, man.
No problem, dude. Oh shoot, I messed it up that time. Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
I felt that. All right.
Yeah.
Some destruction.
Ugh. Let's try it. Oh, that hurt.